Dear viewers, I will return to English in a short while. I'll just have to say a few words in Sami first as an introduction to this video about new anthology of Sami literature in English. Purik jahtsit. Tällä luolta englanniskili, kun saami kirjallas huoda kaskustämme, ferte tahpahuvasikke saame, taaro ja englanniskili, ja ainas äänekielä tekee. Tämän vuoru saami kirjallas huoda kuoptas falla ids tiedui olkomailmai. This talk by Professor Harald Gaski is a brief introduction to his most recent anthology of Sami literature, translated into English. Gaski concentrates on the oldest pieces of written Sami yoik poetry from his new book titled Myth, Tales and Poetry from 400 Years of Sami Literature. Gaski is a professor in Sami culture and literature at Sami Alaskola, the Sami University of Applied Science in Guodegeino. You are watching a promotion video from Sami Kirjallisuuden Kuoptas, the Center of Sami Literature in Karasjohka, Sami.
I actually think I'll just start by reading the back cover text of this anthology, because the idea with the whole book, Myth, Tales and Poetry from 4 Centuries of Sami Literature, is to give a wide picture and presentation of Sami literature from the earliest texts up till now. Because this goes together with my previous anthology, In the Shadow of the Midnight Sun, which presented contemporary prose and poetry. And that anthology will be renewed soon, but this one goes even further back in history. But the back cover text says quite precisely what the book is about, so I'll just quote from that. This anthology presents Sami oral and written texts from the last 400 years, Sami narratives and poetry relating creation of the world, the inhabitation of Sapmi, and vivid accounts of how the Sami have fought against colonization and assimilation. Beginning with the 2 17th century yoik poems that became renowned in Europe and inspired famous authors like Goethe, and continuing to prose and poetry of recent decades. The anthology highlights an enduring and distinctive Sami voice in the world of literature. Provided with an introduction explaining the wealth and richness of Sami language as a treasure trove from which to develop modern Sami prose and poetry, the anthology opens the riches of Sami literature to readers, introducing a literature that is at once national, Nordic, and international. Like the literature it presents, the anthology transcends the borders that have been established through the Sami area, and that have never proved substantive barriers to exchange and cooperation between Sami people. As the literature of an indigenous people, Sami prose and poetry also speaks to other indigenous literary traditions and contributes to the growing global interest in indigenous cultures and perspectives. That's the back cover text, the presentation of the book, which I have edited, and a huge part of the translation has been done by my colleague Thomas Dubois at the University of Wisconsin at Madison. And like I said, the idea behind this is to go even further back than I did in the previous anthology, because I feel that there was a need to give the background to contemporary Sami prose and poetry, and also include the Sami stories, Sami myths, and also some yoik poetry, which is quite essential in understanding contemporary Sami poetry. So the idea is to give a fuller presentation of Sami literature from the last 400 years, because the first texts that were written down and presented were two Yoik love poems by Olaus Sirma, who actually in a way was headhunted to the University of Uppsala to study to become a minister or a priest, a clergyman, and then he was sent back to the Sami area to be a missionary. By headhunted, I mean that he was actually just taken by the missionaries who traveled in the north, and they were really looking for bright young men that they could bring along and give some basic education in Christianity, and then use them in the Christianization of the Sami people. So Olaus Sirma was one of those youngsters who was taken along and given an education and then used in the process of Christianizing the Sami. But the interesting thing was that at the time when Olaus Sirma, or Olof Sirma, or Cherma Ovla, as his Sami name was, while he was studying in Uppsala, he met or acquainted Johannes Scheferius, who was commissioned to write a book about the Sami, because there was a growing interest for the Sami people in Europe at that time, and Scheferius, he was a professor at the University of Uppsala in several disciplines, but he was quite soon after his arrival to Uppsala asked by several chieftains in Europe and other colleagues of his to put together the reports that the missionary clergymen or missionary ministers sent to the bishop in Uppsala, and collect those stories about the Sami, and on that basis, and with the Sami informants he had available in Uppsala, among others, Chermovla, Olaus Sirma, use them as informants and then create a book about the Sami, which then became the Laponia book that was written in Latin and launched in Frankfurt am Main in 1673. So what Scheffer did with the two Yoik poems he got from Olaus Sirma was that he left them in their Sami original, or presented them in their Sami original, and also in Latin translation. And that was very good for us as contemporary readers of Sami poetry that he did so, because those texts actually are the only text we have in that specific Sami language, the Kemi, Giama Samigella, Kemi Sami language. And they were introduced by Olaus Sirma to be a love poem sung or performed in wintertime, and the other one in summertime. And they actually describe the love the main person feels to his girlfriend who is absent, or who is at a different place, and his longing to get to her. It starts in the summertime, and he describes how much he misses her and how much he wants to be with her and get to the place where she is, which is Örjejärvi, the squirrel lake. But there's no means of transportation for him in the summertime to get there, so he has to wait till winter. So the next poem is Gulnasash, which then actually is a bird's name, because but it's used about a draft reindeer, because that was the way he then could travel to his girlfriend, with a reindeer and on a sled. So, so he's prepared to go on that long journey, and what he does then is not yoik the girlfriend and how beautiful she is, but he has to yoik the areas, the mountains, the lakes he's going to cross on that journey in order to ask for nice weather and good travel conditions. So it's really a beautiful love poem. The first one, the other one is a continuation to that poem, but still explaining how he needs good conditions in order to reach to his loved one. So that's a story, and we're following them on that journey. But it ends with a question mark. So the poem actually ends before he reaches to her, and he's very nervous about whether or not she will accept him because he has let her wait for so long. So what he does is actually he asks the reindeer, his draft reindeer, whether or not the reindeer can tell him what mood she is in, and what her reply will be. So he asks the reindeer if the reindeer can see her eyes, so that unfulfilled love, in a way, was what also, you may say, introduced romanticism to Europe. I don't know if all literary scholars will agree with me on that, but at least that it didn't have the poem didn't have a happy ending, in, so to say, was something new for Europe, and also inspired other poets. So, like I mentioned, Goethe was inspired by that poem through the translations that von Kleist made of the poem, and Goethe then wrote something that is close to the Sami yoik poem, Inne des Geliebten, which also has that feeling of love, instead of just explaining how he is together with the girl, but it's this Inne des Geliebten, just in the to be near my loved one, and having that feeling of love. So Goethe was inspired, and several others. Also Longfellow refers to this poem when he says that a verse of a Lapland song is haunting my memory still. A boy's will is the wind's will, and the thoughts of youth are long thoughts. So actually, those lines went into European and international literature. So jokingly, I used to say that it's not a question of conquering European or Europe's literature now. It's just a question of reconquering it from Sami point of view, because Sami literature actually was part, or could have been part, of European literature as it was developing at that time, because there was an interest, like I said, for Sami topics and also Sami literature. So like von Herder, when he created his Lieder der Völker, or now I've forgotten the title of that book. But anyway, Herder created his books on the basis of European folk songs and traditions, and included, among other texts, Olaus Sirma's texts there, and his idea was that from the literature of the people, you could also get to understand the psyche of the people, the thinking of the people. So in a way, this psychological dimension of literature as representing the soul of the people. So in that sense, Sami literature has a long history in Europe. And the same with Anders Fjellner's myth, the son of the Son of the Sun's courtship in the land of the giants, which actually at the same time also is the Sami basic myth about how the Sami can trace their or our descendants all the way back to the sun, because it's the son or the son who is traveling that far and then gets together with the giant's daughter, and after a lot of trials that he has to go through and really prove that he deserves the giant's daughter, then they can return to the Son of the Sun's area, which then is the Sapmi area, and they together get the Gallabadnit, 3 sons who are really good moose hunters, and they also are the inventors of skis. So skiing is a Sami invention, and they together they also create the skis. So when they die, they weren't given a traditional Sami. They weren't buried traditionally, but they were lifted up to heavens to be the stars of the Sami people. So Gallabadnit actually is, they continue their hunt, the cosmic hunt now. So they use the bow and arrow, which is then the wagon or the Dabgat in Sami, and Dabgat is then the bow. So what they are doing is they are hunting the cosmic elk or moose, and the day when they actually succeed in their hunt, that means the end of the world, because then all the stars will fall down upon the earth. So we're not hoping for the Gallabadnit to be successful in their hunt, but they that represents one dimension of the old Sami stories that connect the cosmos and the earth, and also the which is under the earth, because under the earth, or in the heart of the earth, when the great creator created the Sami, he or she knew about the hardships that the Sami people would experience through history. So in order to give the Sami something to believe in, the great creator took a living and beating heart of a 2-year-old reindeer cow, a vuonyal or vuonyalaldu, and placed it in the middle of the earth. So every time the Sami feel our existence threatened, we can just lay our ear down to the ground and listen for the heartbeats from below. And as long as we can hear the heartbeats from below, we will know, or we know, there is still a future for the Sami. So that connects the Sami people to the earth and to the sound of this living beating heart, that then has the connection, also represents a connection between the sun and the earth. So the sun, our father, as Nils Aslak Valkeapää has put it in one of his book titles, and the other is the earth, my mother, or the earth, our mother. So which then represents the line between the sun and the earth, representing the creation of life and also the continuation of life, which we also find represented in the words like Eana, Eane, Eano. So which then is the earth, mother, and river. So river represents the water, which is essential, of course, in the creation of life and keeping up of life. And then we have the sun and the earth as the figures of which creates life and makes it continue. So that's part of the background for this book, and then in addition to that, it is full of Sami stories, of yoic poetry, and also some newer poetry and short stories which represent the continuation of of Sami storytelling in new format.